Married at First Sight and Afterparty, Season 18, Episode 2. This was a tough one to watch because everyone is all hyped up about their readiness to be married and excited to meet their spouse. But the network has already shown us previews of these folks cutting up and having some heavy drama. So I'm sitting here smacking on some popcorn, giving everybody side eye because I know some of these people are a whole hot mess. Hi, I'm Tamara, and this is Tamara Lynette Tales. In this video, I'm going to talk about the actual episode, plus sprinkle in things that were said on Afterparty, which featured Karla, Chi-Chi, and Madison. I noticed the producers finally listened to us and stopped fake surprising the bride and grooms in their hotel rooms with their friends. Instead, they had all of the brides make an entrance by walking downstairs in their robe. And the men were filmed being dropped off in front of the hotel, then walking into their room to meet their groomsmen and families. This was better. I give the producers props for changing it up. I know I criticize them a lot. However, I can give props when it's due, but this episode was still boring. So let's run through it really quickly. In this one, they featured the weddings of Madison and Allen, Karla and Juan, and Emem and Chi-Chi. It feels like they spent an hour and 20 minutes showing everyone prepare for their wedding, which, by the way, is an hour and 20 minutes I'll never get back. Meanwhile, they all had similar long conversations, which I can recap in less than 3 minutes. You all have seen me and my dating life. I haven't been able to find someone who will stick. My forever person. I'm so ready to take the next step and be somebody's wife. I just hope she finds me attractive. I just hope he likes what he sees. And this is half of them crying because someone they care about isn't here today. But I know they love and support me. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for always supporting me. Then their friends said, you deserve to have love. And getting married this way is so on brand for you. If it were anyone else, I'd be surprised, but this feels right for you. I'm not even surprised that you would get married in such an unconventional way. Anyway, that's what I heard for what felt like 3 hours. As for the couples, they all appear to be happy with their spouses' looks anyway. So Madison and Allen was like, damn, I won the lottery. You're freaking beautiful. Clearly, he loved the way Madison looked. During their wedding vows, we learned that Madison graduated summa cum laude with her lowest grade being an A-. I think it's awesome they pick someone who is book smart, at least. Now, at some point in her life, she got ejected from Oktoberfest for standing on a table and chugging a beer. Now, an after party, she said it was more like a time out because she got to go back in after about 45 minutes. Now, these two seem to have good physical chemistry so far and appear to have a lot in common on paper. But like all of the other couples, it looks like they're running on adrenaline right now, like hyped up to have made it this far in the process. So everything is sunshine, butterflies, and roses for now. Moving on to Karla and Juan. Juan cried because he was stepping into the unknown by getting married this way. And by being an immigrant, when he came to this country, there were a lot of unknowns. So he's used to the unknownness of it all and has learned to embrace it. So that made him very emotional. Again, the previews of what's to come this season got me jaded over here because I know once they get past these moments, the drama begins. So I couldn't get into the tears, but I appreciate the vulnerability. Meanwhile, Karla said she didn't feel nervous at all and felt like she and Juan were already communicating to each other spiritually, and feels like because he puts himself out there in this way, I love him already. Girl, simmer down. Hundreds have put themselves out there like this and turned out to be a whole fool. So you might want to pump the brakes on the I love yous for a minute anyway. On Afterparty, she said Juan gifted her a swim cap. I thought it was because he knows I have good hair, but it turns out he likes to swim. I'm not a swimmer, I float. Keisha laughed and said, everybody floats. It felt like Keisha was seeing her little dinghy. Okay, so listen to the first words they exchanged with each other after Karla walked down the aisle. Hello, mister. How are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm wonderful. My name is Juan. I'm Karla. Good to meet you, Karla. Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Are you in love? I hope that we can fall in love. Karla! Girl, what was that? Where'd all those R's come from in your name all of a sudden? And then what was that with the "are you in love"? On Afterparty, she said it was an inside joke between her and her family. They will look at each other and say, "Are you in love?" So this was my way of letting him into my world. And I was hoping he didn't take me so seriously. But by the looks of it, I was like, okay, let's move on. Karla! The only problem is he doesn't know you and your family's little inside joke, boo-boo. He just met you 37 seconds ago, remember? So it came off a little bizarre, a little weird. I'm interested to know what he thought in that moment. Talk about awkward and unexpected. After the officiant said you may kiss the bride, Juan asked, would you be okay with that? Of course, come here. They got their kiss on, and I'm happy to see these couples kiss after getting married. Now, on the surface, Karla and Juan seem to have a lot in common in terms of being connected to their respective cultures. They both like to travel. He's got a subcontractor business. Her dad is into construction. They both like to dance. All great, but these aren't things that make a marriage successful. I'm still checking out Karla's personality. She's either super grounded or super weird. The jury's still out for me. Emem and Chi-Chi. So Emem seemed genuinely excited all day, more excited than nervous, but it's possible they edited it that way. So she was singing, I'm gonna see my husband, I'm gonna meet my husband. I like seeing her positive energy going into this. Chi-Chi, on the other hand, is kind of a tough one to read so far. He doesn't appear to be moved by much. Keisha said to him, I know you're super cool and chill, or something like that. So maybe he's low-key and doesn't show much emotion. In any case, he wrote Emem a poem, which she and her bridesmaids loved. Remember, he's been writing letters to his future wife for years. He wrote a book called To My Future, #WCW, Women Crush Wednesday, Letters to My Best Friend, and Future Everything. It was published back in 2018. Anyway, Emem and her friends were loving it. It was written kind of like a spoken word poem. But on Afterparty, he was disappointed with their reaction. He meant his words to be more romantic than like Love Jones or Deaf Poets or spoken word vibe. And Keisha was like, you meant for your words to touch her heart, right? He's like, yes. Well, she was touched, so stop being so hard on yourself. It felt like a weird thing to be disappointed about because they loved the poem. That's a win in my book. Anyway, Emem's sister told her that she went to go see their mom, and her mom said her spirit is with her. Now, to the confessional cam, Emem said that her mom is a traditional Nigerian mother and believes in arranged marriages, but not publicizing it. So she didn't attend. Now, her father passed away 3 years ago. One of the bridesmaids gave her a locket with his picture in it and included a blue stone for something blue. Now, this was a very emotional moment. I lost my father 2 years ago, so I could totally empathize with her tears. By the way, shout out to the bridesmaids' dresses. They were my favorite color, purple. So pretty. Anyway, after Emem made it down the aisle, she was giving such great energy and excitement. Chi-Chi felt low-key. He works in education. I wonder if he's playing it cool due to being a leader of young folks, or if this is just him. I suspect as the season progresses, we will eventually find out. Now, on Afterparty, he said he had a signal for his friends to extract him from the wedding if he wasn't feeling her. If he said, oh my God, that was their cue to save him. Now, I think he was serious, but kidding. The network did take the $50,000 if you don't stick around to do the show clause out of their contracts. So anything is possible. We did have a runaway bride last season. In any case, they both seem to be attracted to each other and feel like the experts listen to them in terms of what they ask for. So that's a good sign. Now, on After Party, Chi-Chi said his dad couldn't come because his wife was in the hospital. Keisha now has a moment that she calls, "What would you have done differently at your wedding?" So he said the garter belt. Emem didn't wear one just in case he was ugly. She said she didn't want an ugly mother sucker going up her dress, and she didn't say sucker. Emem not wearing a garter belt is not something he could have done differently. I don't know. I guess he feels robbed of the opportunity of going up his bride's dress, grabbing her garter belt with his teeth, then tossing it into a group of single men who, if they catch it, don't know what to do with it. Shoot, don't threaten me with a good time by handing me a garter belt another woman was wearing that her husband pulled off her leg with his teeth and threw over his shoulder. Said no one ever. Anyway, I'm talking about them too long. Moving on. Michelle and David. They are the only couple we haven't seen get married yet. Her family admitted to being critical and judgy. I think they were kidding, but serious. This just feels like the calm before the storm, the hiccup before the belch, the dough before the bread. During this episode, David admitted to shutting down in tough situations, and Michelle has admitted to putting up walls. So he'll have his back turned to her walls? I think it's going to be a challenge for these two to really get to know each other, and even harder to be vulnerable with one another. I have zero hope for them. Anyway, their wedding was on his birthday, and he said his father and his brother got married on their birthdays. Therefore, he sees this as a good sign. No, honey, it's just a coincidence. He said he's concerned about living in his parents' basement. He wants to own rather than rent. Now, based on her family saying they are judgy, I highly suspect they will have a problem with this and can possibly pile on to Michelle's anxiety and wall building by voicing their judgments. I do not see this going well. Anyway, I've said enough about this boring episode. But let's hang in there, though, because it looks like there will be plenty to talk about after they get past the wedding episodes. In the meantime, that's all I have for now. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in my next video.